After helping well over 1,000 people pass the NASM exam, these are my top 3 things that you need if you want to succeed in the process. If you guys are joining me for the first time, my name is Coach Joe Drake. I'm the CEO and the founder of the Axiom Fitness Academy, and we have helped well over 1,000 students through our paid programs, not to mention all the free content that we do here on YouTube, to pass the NASM exam. And so in this video, I want to give you guys just my experience with students, with conversations, the top 3 things that I really think that you need, and in the order that I think are the most important. And I say this because there are so many people who start out on this process, maybe like you watching this video, with the right intentions, the right desires and passions for helping people, but they get into the process and they don't really have a clear understanding of like, what is it going to take for me to actually pass this exam? What does it take to actually study again, as so many students haven't studied in so long? And the truth is, you might have already found this, it's going to take a lot more than you just sitting down and reading the book. And so the first thing, let's call it the base of our pyramid for success that I want to show you guys, voila, there's the big reveal. You got to have a plan. And I know it sounds really simple, but you probably think, hey, when I sign up, I'm going to jump inside the textbook and it's going to all be laid out for me in a way that I can learn it. And if you're a very, very tiny percentage of people who learn well from just reading a textbook, then you might be okay. But for so many people who need structure and accountability, I'm definitely one of those people. You need to have a plan of attack. Like, how am I going to approach this entire process? Because if you guys have already signed up for NASM, or if you're thinking about it, you're going to get your textbook. It's 1,000 pages. That is a lot of information. And I love it as a resource. I love teaching the material because of everything that's in there, but it's also hard to know, like, what do I actually study? And what do I pay more attention to? And how much time do I need to spend on certain things? And not only that, guys, if you think about it, right, just related to your own fitness goals, if we sit down, we've got this goal in mind, I gotta know, okay, where am I trying to go? And how do I work backwards to get there? Down to the day and to the week. Because I know from so many students going through the process, the more specific you can get with exactly what you're gonna be doing every week as you sit down to study, it's much more likely you actually do it. Because I know you probably have real life going on around you. You might be in school, you might be a working parent, you've got so many other things. And so when you do have that free time, when you have that hour to sit down and study, we can't waste any time thinking about what to do. You just need to be able to sit down and execute. So you gotta have a study plan. Good for you guys though, if you guys don't already have access to our study plan, our study guide, we do actually have a complete study guide that takes you guys through the entire NASM process. I myself have gone through the entire textbook and really tried to pare down exactly what you need to know inside of every chapter. Now, it's still going to be up to you to teach yourself the information, but at least even knowing, okay, I need to pay more attention to these things, I need to pay less attention to this, is a great way of taking that 1,000-page textbook and starting to pare it down. And now that we've established the base, which I truly look at this as the base for everything, just having a way of actually approaching the material, a logical progression to make your way through this process, having a deadline, all the things that come in to having a legitimate study plan, which you got to create for yourself or get from someone because it's not in the material. The next piece coming up is actually support to get it done. Guys, the funny thing about this, the longer that I've been teaching this and the longer I've been coaching personal trainers, the more I've realized it's literally the same thing that we do with clients. It's literally the same process, right? I want to maybe connect this for you too. When someone hires a personal trainer, part of what they're doing is they're hiring someone to help them clarify the steps of the process, right? To give them a plan, some accountability that they can follow. And a lot with that is the support. You know, when it comes to clients working with me on a regular basis, I know part of the reason that they actually get results is because they got an appointment with me a couple times a week, right? They know, like, I got to show up, right? Not only does Joe have a great plan for what we're doing, but there's this accountability and support to get there. I know that he's going to be there to help me through all these things. If I have questions about what I'm eating and nutrition and what I should be doing on other days, I know I've got Joe to lean into. And so for you guys, as you're going through this process, you don't have to do it alone. There are literally thousands of other people right now who signed up around the same time as you or will sign up around the same time as you. And they're also struggling through this. And so for so many of us, guys, I think that this is a piece that too many people are trying to study on their own, again, just from the textbook, but there are great things out there. This is actually one of the #1 reasons we created our NASM Facebook group. So again, another free resource for you guys that you guys can find in the link below. And this is thousands of other people. I think we're close to like 3,000 people inside this group, and we're very, very specific about who we let in. but people who have gone through the same process, and many who are super, super active in answering questions and helping people along. And I know if you guys are gonna become great personal trainers, you're gonna need to learn from other people and with other people. You know, hopefully you're gonna find some of that physically in locations where you are, you're gonna find mentorship. But you might be in remote places, you might be working full-time right now, and you might not be able to go do those things. And so just to be able to connect with other people who are going through it, first off, kind of feels nice. Hey, I'm not doing this alone. Other people might have similar questions. And then it's also a great way for you to get your questions answered quickly. Right? This is probably one of the key elements for so many students that work with us, is because if they're struggling with something, they get help right away. And so even inside of our Facebook group, there's a lot of that going on. But however you do it, maybe for you, this might be finding someone else in your local area, right? There may be someone else even in your gym that is either interested in going through this process at the same time as you, which would be huge, or is actually going through it as well. I think most of us need more support in this process, so find ways to lean into the people around you or jump into communities like our Facebook group, because you're gonna get through the process so much quicker. Now that we've established the top 2 things that you definitely need, you gotta have a study plan. And for so many people, you probably need support in the process. The third one, right, and this is probably a little bit more tactical with the actual process, is guys, you gotta have a way of testing how you're doing. And the number one reason that I put this here on the board for you guys is because I actually talk to a lot of you, individuals who are going through, watching our videos out there, and you may not have even signed up for the NASM exam yet, but you're doing a lot of studying. And the thing that's missing for so many people who might be doing that is you gotta actually be able to go through and take practice exams, take quizzes to see what you're retaining, right? This is a very important part of the learning process. And honestly, guys, this is one thing we've been tracking pretty religiously over the last 5 or 6 years, is how students do on the practice exam relative to their passing rates. And I can tell you, if you can get, and this is kind of your goal, if you can get yourself close to around 80% on your practice exam, I can nearly 100% guarantee you that you're gonna go past the exam. Now, don't be that one person who doesn't, and then you come back on the YouTube video and tell me I was wrong, but it just highlights the point that you might be spending all this time. I have a lot of people that talk to me, they're like, Joe, I've been studying for 6 months, I've been reading the textbook, and my first question is like, how are you doing on the quizzes? How are you doing on the practice exams? And they're like, oh, I haven't taken any yet. And I'm like, you're missing out, right? I mean, so much of this is figuring out, am I also retaining and focusing on the right things? And that's a really pivotal part of this process. If you want to get there in the right time frame, part of this plan has to also be built around testing. Not only taking the regular chapter quizzes, taking the section quizzes, but actually having somewhat of a time frame in which you're going to get through and actually take these practice exams before sitting down and taking the actual exam. So you heard it from me, guys. 80% is the number that you want to be getting on the practice exam with no help if you want to make sure you pass the exam. Guys, like so many systems that work, this is not sexy, right? But it absolutely works. And so if you're going through NASM on your own right now, make sure you've got these 3 things in check. If you're thinking about getting certified and you're investigating the certifications, this should absolutely be the structure and the base of your program and how you're approaching it. And if you're watching this video and you don't want to do it alone, then just know we run live interactive virtual courses that have all of this built in for you. And we've helped well over 1,000 people go through this process, get certified. So if you want more information on our live virtual courses, check out the link in the description below. I'll see you in the next video.